Well, this is my daughter, Julie, my oldest child. I still call her my child, although, how old are you, Julie?
39.
Yeah, so that kind of ages me, I guess. But she has a brother who's 2 years younger and a sister who's 10 years younger. But how long have you been attending church here?
My whole life.
Okay. So Julie's been here. She was part of our church body. Remember the day she was dedicated. That's some of the early years here in church. What are some of the things you remember? Did you go to Sunday school?
Yes, I went to Sunday school. I went to special ed class here. Now it's Worship Our Friends, and that really helped me to where I am today in my spiritual walk with the Lord.
Yeah. So you said you went to Sunday school, and for many years Julie went to Sunday school because I was a Sunday school class teacher, and she just stayed and helped me quite a bit. And then when she was when you were about 12, and that was when we had a classroom. This was before I was working here, kind of in the back where nobody and so somebody said she needed to go to the special Sunday school class. And I don't know if she remembers, but the first time you went, you were about 12, and there was a young man there that was about 28. And do you remember what he asked you?
If I was married.
If you wanted to marry him. You came out and said, I don't want to go back there, Mom. And so that was kind of when I started thinking, you know what, we need to maybe change our philosophy a little bit here at the church. When your brother was in the junior high group, across the street here, he was doing a lot of stuff, and what did you want to do?
I wanted to be just like him and be normal and just go to junior high.
And so we went to the pastor, and he said, okay, you could give it a try. What's one of the things you remember the most about junior high?
I remember that I went to camp with him.
What did you do at night, though? That one, your favorite night?
I went out and TP'd somebody's house.
So, and Julie, well, actually, when she was in elementary school, our church would go to Forest Home, a camp, and they would go to Indian Village. And she really wanted to go to Indian Village. And so we actually found a high school girl. Do you remember Mary Ann?
Yes, I do.
So what happened at Indian Village? Did she go with you?
She went with me to make sure that I have a fun time and just be around other people. She was my peers, outside my peers being disabled.
Yeah. Now, we tried when you got a little bit older, and you reminded me when we were talking about this last night, and I guess you have selective memory, I didn't remember this. She told me when she tried it in junior high, they called me, and we were over on main camp, and she had to come stay the rest of the main camp with us. Is that your memory for sure?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I'd kind of forgotten that, but when you came over and stayed with us on main camp because it was too hard being over in the junior high camp, you got to do what? I think that was when you worked with Maggie. Training?
Yes, I was at STA training where you babysit kid until the parents get back from doing some Bible studies.
So you got to be on main camp, and you got to serve in a way by helping a girl that was, I think, about 5 years old. Yeah. So then one thing that when Julie was high school age, we tried really hard to get the high school to do some awareness programs, which they did not do. And so we decided we could have an awareness program here at church, and we invited a young man who had cerebral palsy, who was married in his 20s, to come and talk with the high schoolers. And he told them how his life had been so changed when he was in high school in the Midwest where he lived, and he was invited to a Young Life meeting, and he was accepted by everybody, and he accepted Christ, and how his life had changed because of kindness. Well, he did all this, and he even showed him how hard it was to eat peas, and the kids were loving it. But as a result of that, Julie went to El Dorado High School. There were about 60 people in the high school program where Julie was going across the street that went to El Dorado, and they gave me a call, and they had an idea, and they said they never saw Julie at lunch at school. So what happened?
They invited me they listened to him and saying people should be included with their friends. So they came over and accepted me as a window lunch with us. We are the flagpole, and I went over and had lunch with them. And I felt really accepted by people who care about Christ and about me.
So in her junior and senior year of high school, all of a sudden, she's not eating at the table with all the special needs kids. She's eating by the flagpole with the kids from our church that invited her for lunch. And what a statement that made. The next time I was at the big IEP meeting with all the specialists, say, something's happened at this. We don't find Julie at lunch anymore. She's with a group of kids. And I was able to say, yeah, from a 25-minute awareness program at church, Julie's now got a place. It wasn't that she was invited to and talked with on the phone with these all the time and all that, but she had a place for lunch every day. And then one of the couples, when it was Ronnie's 16th birthday, I remember that. What happened then?
She invited me to come to her birthday, and we went into a limo to a very fun restaurant near Seal Beach.
Near Seal Beach. So you got to go to them. So, and some of those people have stayed friends through the years. So just a simple act of kindness, and what a difference it made in her life. Let's see, now, after high school, here at church, you went to the college group. A lot of these people are college people, so they might identify. Well, what happened after you went to the college group?
After that, I went to different classes.
Well, the college, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but how long did you stay in the college group?
Not for very long, because I found out it's very difficult for me to be in that type of environment. But
She thought it was too
doesn't mean it's not for
intellectual,
other
huh?
people.
You couldn't get it.
It doesn't mean people with disabilities can't do that. There are people who could, there are people who can't. But yes, I was one of them who had it too hard. Some of them had more easier, and it can be part of college life. I know people here in my class now who can go to college life. I think it's real.
Yeah. So the point being, she realized at that point she was interested in coming to our Fellowship of Friends class here at the church for young adults that have issues and needs. She wanted to be part of that. But the problem was she didn't want to be isolated either. So on her own, we have adult fellowships, community groups that meet on Sunday mornings, and some of them are the young married, some of them are the young families, but there was one called All Ages and Stages it was a group of about 100 that had people of all ages and stages. So Julie, on her own, went and she visited, and what has happened?
What happened is I really enjoyed that class, and then I can be an adult, like everybody else who's adults in our church as well. And what helped me to get to that point is Link Counseling, and that was Dave Hodder and Teresa, because they helped me realize that I can be just like everybody else, that I need a friendship class as well, and people who are also adults who did not, so I can be part of that kind of peer in my life as well.
She said lay counseling. I'd kind of forgotten that, but this was when her sister was getting married, having kids. That was a hard time for Julie, coming to the realization she probably would never get married and would probably never have kids. So she wanted to go to counseling, as she put it, to work on her issues. I can remember, and I was really concerned about who our county, the regional center program here would hook her up with when she told. So I went to our church counseling department and said, do you have someone here that's learning to be a counselor with a Christian background? So she kind of helped you spread your wings, go try out another class, and you're still going to see her twice a month now to just talk, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Helped me through all just different things.
Yeah. So a couple more things to Your brother went away to college, and you wanted to go away to college, and we said that's probably not going to happen. And then what did happen?
Well, I was started out when I was the Dutch convention. They had them come and talk too. With Jeff Ross, he talked to us too, and he talked about there's a college for people with disabilities and handicap where they teach us how to live independently. Well, hey, that's pretty cool. Well, I can also go to college just like my brother or anybody else who is normal, but you can be this. I want to be this like that. So I went to experience the college life and what that's like.
So you went to Taft College for 2 years to learn how to live independently, and it scared me to death. But we did lots of praying. And so you have, where do you live now? Do you live back home with me?
No, I live on my own, independently. Almost probably 15 years maybe, if I have it right.
Yeah. So Julie actually lives down the street from the church in an apartment on her own. So that has been kind of a dream come true for you. And as living on your own, you have somebody that comes and helps you do some banking and grocery shopping and that kind of needs, but you live close to the church. So on Mondays and Friday mornings, what do you do?
I come and shred documents for every ministry of this church.
So you're our church shredder, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Now, maybe 6 years ago, our governance of our church at that time was we had elected officers. One of the committees of our church was our deacon board. And after the elections, whoever was the chairman could appoint 2 non-voting members to their board. And I'm saying this because this is just reality, but the deacon board chairman asked if Julie could be appointed to the board. And at the time, my husband was on the elder board at our church. And you know, with all the awareness you have and everything else, there were those that thought, well, wait a minute, someone with a cognitive disability cannot be on a board like that. So we had some discussions and some hard times, and she should have to be elected, but she ended up being appointed and then the following May when we had elections, your name was put on the ballot, and what happened?
And I was voted in. And I got in, and then I was in the bereavement committee,
bereavement committee. So
that
was a committee. What did you do on the bereavement committee for about 4 years, I think?
4 years, yes. I worked with people who have passed loved ones or friends who died, and so just encouraging words, prayer, just giving some love. The body of Christ love in my heart.
And you went to the services and served punch and cookies.
Yes.
You also, what are some of the things you do now? What do you do on Sunday mornings?
Well, tomorrow on Sunday, I am a greeter, usher. Well, they had a greeters, but now they call it ushers.
Okay, and then what do you do? You often for the evening service with Suzanne?
With my friend Suzanne, I part of the prayer team and pray over other people. We just had one where we accepted Christ. We lead them to Christ. And we had another one through us in Austin, was across the street, and I overheard him talking. And she wanted to come to church. He didn't know God, but when we prayed to her, we've got her to come to realize Christ is important for her life. So she's been saving her. Now she has God in her life more than she has been. So her faith's been increased because of the night service, how intimate and how family warming service that Austin put together.
Now, 2 things else that you've done, just a few I've had the opportunity to go to Ghana and Morocco and to Romania to work with in institutions and orphanages with people with disabilities. And 1 year, maybe 6 years ago, we had a church-wide initiative called Love Morocco. So on her own, Julie went and decided she was going to sign up. And I didn't really think she was serious, and I told her, well, you have to have a passport first. And she whips out of her purse. She'd already gone down to CVS and got pictures, so she had the pass. So I think we're serious here. So we went to Morocco. She was part of a team with a speech therapist, an occupational, physical, special ed teacher, me as a parent, and we went to a facility of about 150. They said they all had autism. I'm not sure they all had autism, but they all had special needs that were pretty much warehoused in a sense. Who was the one they were fascinated by and talked with?
Me.
Yeah. And when we were leaving, and well, it was kind of neat because we were so drilled in we can't talk about Christ over here in Morocco, in this country. And they were fascinated. They would ask Julie questions, and I can remember she would say, well, what helps me is because I have Jesus in me. And then she'd look at the interpreter and say, I hope that was okay to say. And she got away with saying things that the rest of us really couldn't. But a couple things. One of the men that was driving us everywhere, we taught him how to play Uno. Did you play with us?
Yes, I did. It was a lot of fun.
A lot of fun. And when he took us back to the airport, he was his takeaway was, in our country, she would never have been allowed to play Uno. That you accept people with special needs, and this just was remarkable. And when the director of these facilities we went to invited us to tea, which was a great honor at the end. And who did he talk to?
You're talking to me again.
And what did he tell you?
He told me, thank you for showing us that we are behind 50 years for people with disabilities, and how important we need to show that people here in Morocco are also have a life variable as well, like you. So, and along with that, they taught me things too that I never dreamed of.
So you taught them the value of all people. And one other thing, and I know we're supposed to be done, but another ministry Julie has, I've been involved with what's called Royal Family Kids Camp, working with foster kids, foster care system I directed for 10 years, and then now we do the teenagers too. But our week of camp every year, Julie comes along to camp. She's Aunt Julie, and every night we will go into the girls' cabins and sometimes the guys, and Julie will tell her story. I wish we had all day. We could, of how she'd been made fun of, what had happened, and these girls, because of what they've been through, a different situation, but in the foster care system, they identify with Julie more than the rest of us, and they open up and tell their stories. And then what do you do with Rosemary? What else do you do at camp?
I'm also do the tea party. And I dress up, and my new role now, from last time, now I'm Aunt Julie at tea time. And it's not just because at tea time, I'm Aunt Julie for everybody.
And she stresses to these young ladies that come to the tea party how they are all fearfully, wonderfully made by God, that they have a purpose. She gives them a bookmark for them to put in their Bibles and read Scripture, and lets them understand their value. And so she's been a real inspiration to, so I'm just trying to think anything else that I guess the point we're trying to make is Julie is accepted an integral part of this church like everybody else, and she is on the higher functioning level, and from the children that are nonverbal or adults to our 65-year-old man who comes on Sunday mornings in diapers, nonverbal, and pretty much spits. They're all part of this church body, and our church is better because of each of them.
And Jordy.
And Jordy. We love Jordy. Yes, we do. Yeah.
I also work with my mom through her ministry, and in terms of I help with Jordy. It's one of my favorite things I can do with her.
Sunday morning, so.
We hope you enjoyed this message. Biola University offers a variety of biblically centered degree programs, ranging from business to ministry to the arts and sciences. Learn more at biola.edu.